I wonder what these two holy rabbis are writing to each other in these letters. Could you imagine what would a holy Rebbe write to another holy Rebbe, that each one, it moves the other so much? It reminds me of another Chasidic Masters, of the two Rebbes that were sending a letter back and forth. You know the story? They would the Rebbe would send a letter, and he would give it to his shamus, who would go and run to the other town. Give it to my good friend Rebbe, whatever, in the other town. And he goes and brings it to him, and the guy takes out the letter, and he looks at it, and you see him looking at the letter. The messenger is watching the Rebbe look at the letter, and just like, it touches his heart, and he says, excuse me, I have to write a response. Would you please wait? And he goes in the other room for whatever it is, 20 minutes. And he comes out with a rolled up piece of paper. He says, please give this back to my good friend. And he goes and he brings it back. And then the guy unravels he gives the paper to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe unravels it, and he looks at the letter and he goes, like he's so moved by the content of the letter. And he says, let me write a response back. And he goes, and this guy, he keeps bringing the letters back and forth, and he says, I wonder what these two holy rabbis are writing to each other in these letters. Could you imagine what would a holy Rebbe write to another holy Rebbe, that each one, it moves the other so much? So one day his curiosity overcomes him, and he decides in mid-trip, he stops to open the letter and read what's in it. And he looks at the letter, and it says, Dear Michal. And then there's a blank space all the way to the bottom. It says, with love, your friend Shlomo, right? He's like, what? What's going on over here? So he doesn't understand. He's like, I don't understand what's going on. Are they playing games with me? They're just sending fake letters just to watch me run back and forth and have a good laugh? He says, let me see what happens with the other Rebbe's letter. So he brings the letter, he brings it to the Rebbe. The Rebbe opens it up and he goes, thank you for bringing me this letter. I need to compose a response. And the guy's like, it's a fake out. It's a whole fake out. What's going on? The Rebbe goes in the other room. He comes back with his letter. He says, please give this to my friend. He goes, yeah, I'll give it to him. On the way back, he stops. He looks at the letter. It's another blank paper. Dear Shlomo, blank paper, with love, Michal. So he's just so upset. He's like, these Rebbes are playing games with me, that from their entertainment, they're sending me running back and forth. So he goes and he gives the letter to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe opens it up and he says, such a beautiful letter. And the guy says, what does it say? And he says, you wouldn't understand, right? And he says, I understand perfectly. I understand that it's a blank piece of paper, and you and your other Rebbe friend are playing games with me all these years. And I'm really upset, and I demand an explanation. So the Rebbe says, no, you don't understand at all. He says, my love for my friend and his love for me is so powerful that we could never, ever express it with words. And that is the expression that we are sending to one another. That my love for you is so deep and so great, there are no words that could contain my love. That's the message we've been sending back and forth to each other. And you totally missed it. You totally missed it. What's going on over here?